From a small town in a remote part of Morocco to some of the world's biggest stages. A singer, known simply as DOUZI, is bringing the sounds of home to an international audience. Taking inspiration from the people and places he was brought up with, he is moving traditional music into the mainstream. This is Inside Africa. Oujda, in the northeast of Morocco, is less than 15 kilometers from the Algerian border. Although relations between the two countries have been strained for decades, it shares many things with its neighbor, including a love of a musical style that started in North Africa almost 100 years ago. Rai is a form of folk music that is thought to have been started by Bedouin shepherds visiting the Algerian port city of Oran. It mixes Spanish, French, African and Arabic musical forms. In recent years, it has been reworked and reinvented by DOUZI, who is one of North Africa's biggest musical stars.
We used to hear it in weddings and parties when we were children, so it becomes part of us. It's part of our culture, the culture of the eastern part of Morocco, and also the western side of Algeria. They use basic instruments. It was based on rhymes, but the most important thing in the music is the subjects that they were talking about. They used to talk about social matters, matters that everybody cares about inside society, and people's everyday experiences.
DOUZI divides his time between Belgium and Morocco, but was back in his hometown recently. He is an instantly recognizable figure as he makes his way around on his highly distinctive form of transport. He was keen to show us some of the places where he enjoyed his first musical awakening, but his celebrity status means getting around his hometown is no easy feat.
This is one of the oldest squares we have in the city of Oujda, because if you see this side, there is an old wall, so the old Oujda is behind the wall. We used to come to this square when we were children, but now with this renovation the square has changed, but its history is old. When we were young we would watch The Old Men. If we talk about the past and the art of Rai, it comes from this square. This is one of the oldest art forms we have here. Hauka is very old art and has existed here for centuries. This guy has spent 34 years working like this. There are so many people who work here. There are different types of Hauka, the one who tells poetry, and the singers, and the storytellers.
A police escort and a small army of helpers was needed for him to make his way slowly around the square.
Now we're at the entrance of Bab Sidi Abdel Wahab. As you can see, the young generation are trying to make some money. They sell artisan items that are made by hand. Here we have old objects made in a traditional way. Come with me and I'll show you what we have here.
Progress is slow, as he stops for others to take selfies. A visit to the souk proves almost impossible, and when he emerges, his team have arranged a performance by some traditional musicians just outside the Medina.
As you can see now, we're back in the square. The souk represent an image from the past. We talked about the souk in the past. Now let's see what they do now. They talk of a society and people in a language they understand. They talk to us about social issues and their daily lives. This is the Sheikh Mohant, one of the oldest souk in the eastern part of Morocco. We're proud of them and we respect them because they are the roots and the origins of music. Let's listen to one of their songs.
As the performance comes to a conclusion, DOUZI dashes into a waiting car. By keeping in touch with the people he grew up with and revisiting the places he loved as a child, he hopes that Oujda and its music will continue to inspire him. Oujda is a quiet town surrounded by mountains and with easy access to the sea. Located within a few kilometers of Algeria, historically one of the main sources of income was said to come from smuggling. DOUZI, whose mother was born in Algeria and father in Morocco, says that music helps define this part of the world.
The first music we listened to was rhyme music, so it influenced us from the start. It had a big influence on us. When I started, me and my brother's dream was to become famous around the world and for my music to be heard worldwide. Rhyme music influenced me from the beginning until now. That's the style of music that I'm famous for, and it's the one I've tried to bring to the world with my style.
He draws inspiration from the natural beauty of the area. He invited us to join him on a whirlwind tour. This is a UNESCO World Heritage Site with some of the world's oldest human remains being discovered here. For DOUZI, it is the peace that is inspiring.
This area has special weather and a place in my heart because I love nature and the environment. I love the green and the mountains. In this area, it's 100% quiet. We were talking about rhyme music, the countryside music. This is where they started. Whenever I come here, I remember my childhood, the first steps in my career. I come here when I want to concentrate and seek inspiration for me and my brother. Sometimes, when I want to think about the subjects I will talk about in my songs, then I come here because I love the nature, the green and the mountain. We are far away from the headache of the traffic in the city. There's no better place than this, where you can come and work and search for some creativity.
With a little gentle encouragement, he is persuaded to sing.
واحد شوفي حالي كيراني يما عايش وحدي غريب وبراني كنت مهني في وسط أحبابي ياما حتى وليت عايش وحداني abrí de nuevo ese baúl de recuerdos que llevo por dentro abrí de nuevo ese baúl de recuerdos que llevo por dentro y que me lleva a ti دوني بلادي توحشت حبابي أهلي وأصحابي مليت من الغربة مليت.
Next stop is another area of natural beauty, and here he turns inquisitor, interested to discover more about the area he grew up in.
أنا جيت هنا من كنت صغير.
I used to come here when I was a child, and now when I come, everything has changed, but the exterior is still the same. Can you tell me about this place?
As you can see, this province has special advantages because we start in a desert area, then we have mountains, then lower mountains, and then a flat area to the Mediterranean. So in a distance of 50 kilometers, we find 4 elements of nature. These are totally different from each other, but exist in harmony, which is not something that is easy to find elsewhere in the world.
Everywhere DOUZI goes, he is accompanied by his brother, who is his musical mentor and manager. It was him who introduced Rai music into his life.
Rai music is the music that people, both old and young, love because it's the music they grew up with. It is also part of our heritage and culture because it has a relationship back to our grandparents. The Rai masters who play Rai music in the market talk about their problems, love issues, and immigration issues. This is something that we have inherited from our parents. We started to know more about it in the 80s. The large number of the younger generation do not know a lot about traditional Rai music. They love the modern Rai that they listen to, the Rai music that has been developed in 2015, 2016.
He is excited that along with his brother, he is taking a musical form that is special to them, to an international audience.
I am so proud to represent Rai music internationally and all over the world. It is a privilege and a great pleasure to represent Rai music.
The music that inspires DOUZI is rooted in the past and celebrates simpler times. But that doesn't mean that its modern practitioners aren't able to enjoy some of the perks that come with success.
As you can see, we're at the Marina of Saida. It's a beautiful place where I spend my summer holidays with my family and friends. Come with us on a tour to have a look. After a lot of work in festivals and events, I come here to get rid of my stress. Let's go on a tour so you can see the region of Saida and the place where I spend my summer holidays. Look, your origin is your origin. When I come back to Morocco, I feel so good because there is nothing like home. We grew up here and spent all our time here. We started here, and my first steps in the artistic field were here. For me, Oujda is the place where I see my family and friends. The only region in the world where I feel good is Oujda. I tried to live in different places. I lived in Belgium, in France, and I traveled all over the world. But where my soul rests is Oujda.
While this may look to be as contemporary as it gets, the music that has inspired singer DOUZI dates back to early in the last century. Thanks to people like DOUZI, Rai is now a 21st century musical movement. He has embraced social media. He has almost 5 million followers on Facebook. Every move is recorded on Instagram. They are, he says, an effective means of helping a modern audience connect with music from the past.
The traditional Rai musicians are far away from where we are now. They stay in their traditional style of life and want to keep it that way, which helps their style keep its charm. I think they should retain their traditions, because that's what makes their lifestyle so charming. They are far away from social media. I think our politics is different from their politics. They see their music as a heritage that was given from father to son, and for them it's a job and a source of living. For us, we always want the big thing. We want to be well known.
While social media is helping transform the way in which music is consumed and understood, it is not the only thing that is changing in Oujda. In the last few years, money has been piled into the area in a hope of creating its own identity. On the roof of the town's Human and Social Studies Research Centre, a local professor points out some of the facilities.
As you can see, we have a lot of mosques in which there are over 300 big mosques here. We have the big hospital, university hospital, the white building over there. Just near it you can find the university, which is one of the biggest universities in Morocco. Over the white building there is the territory or the border, so that mountain is Algerian.
Local dignitaries are proud of their town and say that music plays an important role in its cultural identity. They say having an international star as one of its regular visitors has helped raise its profile.
Your presence in Oujda as an international television station is proof of that. You are here because of him. In general, the artist is an ambassador of his country, and specifically the ambassador of his region. He can publicise his region worldwide and help to attract tourists and investors to his city or his country in general. Your presence here is proof of the impact of the artist on his city.
During our trip, DOUZI and friends were observing Ramadan. Ramadan is the 9th month of the Islamic calendar. It marks the first revelation of the Quran to Muhammad and is observed by Muslims around the world by fasting from sunrise to sunset. Iftar is the evening meal that is taken at the end of the daily fast.
Every Ramadan we see our family and friends and hope we can fast one more year with them. When you fast with family and friends, you remember people who fast alone. Then you say thank God as you have friends and family, so you experience some moments that you will never forget. That's why I'm spending Ramadan here in Oujda.
Food over, and a group of traditional Ragada and Arafa musicians arrive. Their music celebrates the warrior culture of people from this region.
This music is a cultural heritage shared between Morocco and Algeria, because before, the tribes were all together. There were no borders.
I am from the area, and I know the drums should be warmed up before you start playing. But what are you doing now to your instrument? Why are you massaging it?
We do this massage to turn the instrument into a drum.
The musicians fine-tune their instruments, and soon it is time for the performance to start. Music has been integral to the lives of many North African communities for centuries. Left unchanged, Rai could and probably would have survived for decades to come with a small but ever-dwindling following. But now, thanks in part to brothers from a small border town in Morocco, Rai music has a new international audience, which has almost certainly guaranteed its existence for generations to come.